So the public dialogue is an opportunity to hear the voices of the general public. And this is important because it helps us to make sure that our research is aligned with society's values and to make sure that there is this maintenance of trust between the scientists and the public.
I think people's personal experiences, cultural differences, religious differences have sparked more dialogue. I like the respect for each person's opinions. I find that nobody's overriding anybody else's opinion. There's a deep respect.
Well, I was going into it completely blind. Human embryos, never discussed, never talked about, never seen it in the media, never seen it in the news.
The researchers, the doctors, the professors in all the different kind of universities and in places like Guy's Hospital, they've all come together to give us more information.
There's research and there's research, and this is on another level. And I'm so pleased that I've picked up knowledge in the last few days about a topic that is so important.
It was a real privilege to hear all of the different views from the public about the area of research that I work on. I'm a second-year PhD student at the Babraham Institute. My main focus of my project is looking at how genes are regulated in early human embryo development, specifically in the cells that will go on to make all the cells of the future fetus and adult. This way of doing public engagement can actually be really beneficial, not just for the public, but also for us as scientists.
The focus for this public dialogue is on the so-called 14-day rule of human embryo research and to have a two-way discussion with all the different participants. Many of them were cautiously in favour of extending the 14-day rule.
I struggled with it a bit. The fact of going beyond 14 days, what deems like an embryo being human, having a soul, for me being a Catholic and coming from a religious perspective too. I didn't realise that just by studying a human embryo that they would be able to help so many people. All these childhood diseases, cancers, birth defects, and in that sense it's made me look differently at it, not from a religious point of view, but like as a mother.
Potential benefits could be obviously in health science anyway, generally not just to do with embryonic science. It could be for congenital diseases, stem cell science, all of that. So I think, there's definitely a possible large amount of extras benefits that will be achieved.
Also, we have to be mindful that not everybody shared these opinions, and indeed many participants had concerns about whether to extend the 14-day rule.
Whilst we've got this 14-day rule and wants to push the 14-day rule, is it beneficial? There's also those ethical issues. There's a lot of questions, there's a lot of grey areas.
We need to talk to those participants, those people that have those concerns, to see whether there's anything that could be tried in order to try to alleviate some of those concerns.
People really appreciated us engaging with them and having a proper conversation with them and also listening to them.
Because you think that they're the experts, so what they say goes. You wouldn't really think that they'd ask for the public's opinion. They seemed like they really wanted to know our opinions.
It's easy for us as scientists to stay in our silo, so this has been a fantastic reality check.
It really made me think much more widely about where my research sits within the greater context of society.
Human embryo research has already revolutionized the way all of us are receiving our medicines. The way that medicines were screened, the way that cells were used in therapies 20 years ago is completely different as a consequence already of human embryo research.
That blew my mind. Why don't we know about that?
The problem is most of the public don't know enough about this. Like myself, I didn't really know anything about it. So now that I've become more informed, knowledge is power, I can make better decisions.
One of the suggestions the participants gave to me was we could write a lay summary of our research every 3 years or so, and we could make it available on our website. And it would describe what we learned from our experiments using human embryos, and also how that new knowledge may one day lead to benefits to society. And so this is something we will do from now on, and I'll also encourage my colleagues at other institutes to do the same thing.
It's been very interesting, and now I have this knowledge. I'm going to go away and I'm going to continue talking about this to other people.
Many participants have high levels of trust in scientists. That's what many of them said. And indeed, they have a high level of trust in the regulation of human embryo research here in the UK. And quite rightly, they demand and expect this high level of regulation for this form of research. And so it's really important that trust and that level of regulation and scrutiny are continued into these new forms of research, including stem cell-based embryo models. As a next step, building on this foundational project would be to further explore these ideas and to extend these conversations with further groups and communities in society.